Welcome to the breathtaking kingdom of Nepal, a land of towering peaks, ancient temples, and a culture as vibrant and diverse as its stunning landscapes. Nestled in the heart of the Himalayas, Nepal is a place where traditions run deep, spirituality soars high, and natural beauty knows no bounds. Did you know that Nepal is not only the home of the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest, but also a melting pot of cultures and traditions? So get ready as we explore life in Nepal from the perspective of someone born there. Let's start with the baby shower in Nepal. A baby shower here is known as Dahi Chiora, and it is celebrated once the baby is born. It's a special ritual in which dahi, yogurt, chiora, flattened rice, are fed in the 6th or 7th month of pregnancy with gifts and blessings from the elders. Dahi and chiora are the major dishes on this day because they have nutritious values. Dahi and chiora are very easy to digest, and it also helps strengthen bones and immunity. Pregnant women are invited to their relatives and offered delicious and healthy food to eat, which is beneficial for the mother and unborn baby. Chiathi is celebrated on the 6th day after the child is born. Relatives gather together to celebrate this ceremony. On this day, pen and paper are put under the child's pillow so that God comes and writes his or her fortune. On the 11th day after the baby is born, Nwaran is celebrated in Nepal, which is also known as the naming ceremony. A priest visits the home to give the child a name according to the baby's birth details and corresponding horoscope. Hence, Nepali children usually have two names, their horoscope name and their given name. Nepali names usually come from Sanskrit and Pali. Each name has its own significance and meaning. Some of the names are also reflective of the beauty of Nepal. For example, Himalaya is a common Nepali name which translates to snow-capped mountains. Many Nepalis use their ethnicity or caste name as their surname. After some months of the birth of the baby, a weaning ceremony is kept which is known as Pasni in Nepal. It is celebrated within 5 months for girls and 6 months for boys after birth. It is also known as the rice feeding ceremony, where the child is fed first-time rice and different traditional foods. On this day, all the relatives gather together and celebrate by exchanging gifts and blessings. Rice is a regular and important food in Nepal. By feeding rice, it is assumed that the child is entering the social life with its regular food. All food is prepared by other female members of the family or the maid. The mother is not allowed to cook during the postpartum period. Nepali mothers eat a very specific diet of jal, bitter-tasting buttery chicken broth, and specifically cooked meat and vegetables, which are to help with recovery and production of nutritious breast milk. Babies are breastfed whenever they demand it and sleep with their mothers until they are displaced by the new baby or are old enough to sleep with their brothers and sisters. Babies and children often wear amulets and bracelets to protect them from evil spirits and ghosts. Parents sometimes put kohl on the baby's eyes to prevent eye infections. Children have few toys. The ones they have, they often make for themselves. At around the age of 8, children are expected to start participating in family chores. Girls generally collect water and firewood. Boys are often in charge of tending the water buffalo and herding cows, goats, and sheep. Children are often spoiled and allowed to do what they want when they are young. When children are infants and toddlers, they accompany their mothers almost everywhere, traditionally tied to their mother's back with a piece of cloth called a patuka. After a child can walk, child-rearing responsibilities for that child are shared with other relatives, usually an older sister if there is one. In Nepal, there is a great emphasis on having sons and child marriages are common. Child grooms are as much of an issue as child brides. Young husbands are often expected to start working and care for their families at a surprisingly young age. Siblings are often addressed by a name that refers to their age order, and cousins are often referred to in sibling terms. When a Hindu boy is 6 or 7, his head is shaved except for a tuft of hair called a tupi, marking his initiation into Hinduism. Only the mother's brother or male cousin may perform the ceremony, which is known as chadukarma or kshar. If the boy is a Brahmin or Kshetri, he receives a sacred thread. From an early age, children are expected to contribute labor to the household. The law entitles both girls and boys to schooling. However, if a family needs help at home or cannot spare the money for uniforms, books, and school fees, only the sons are sent to school. In urban areas and larger towns, children attend school. Rural children may or may not, depending on the proximity of schools, the availability of teachers, and the work required of them at home. Primary education in Nepal, called basic education, consists of grades 1 through 8. Secondary levels are grades 9 to 12. Pre-primary education is available in some areas, and students usually begin grade 1 at age 5. Kabaddi, kusti or wrestling, and dandi biyo, which is basically a game played with a stick and a wooden pin, are some of the games popular among children in Nepal. A basic level examination, BLE, previously known as a district level examination, DLE, is given in the 8th grade. At her first menstruation, girls in rural and more conservative areas of Nepal are usually taken to another house and are kept secluded. They are mostly kept out of sight of the men in the sun, given special foods, and are not expected to work, but overall, their seclusion is recognition of the pollution associated with female sexuality and reproduction. A National Secondary Education Exam, SEE, previously known as School Leaving Certificate, SLC, is an examination conducted at the end of grade 10. Completing the grade 12 examination leads to the School Leaver Certificate. Teenagers in Nepal are known for the respect towards their elders and for obeying their parents and older siblings. They are extremely loyal to their friends and family, and they will go above and beyond to assist them. In addition, the Nepalese people are extremely caring and compassionate towards their fellow human beings. University education in Nepal leads successfully to the degrees of bachelor, master, and doctor, PhD. Depending upon the educational stream and degree subject, a bachelor's degree may require as much as 3 to 5 years of study, but 2 years is the typical duration. Some universities offer Masters of Philosophy and postgraduate diplomas. In Nepali, hobby is called sauka. Most popular hobbies among Nepalis include arts and crafts. Most of the hobbies are all about wood carvings or kata nakasi, meaning kukris, curved knives, prayer wheels, musical instruments, and dance masks. Some Nepalis even love reading or pad thai, cooking or khana pakwane, and trekking or trekina, as it's known in Nepal. The dating culture or Nepali dating customs has evolved. As a result of modernity, parental participation has been reduced. However, because Nepal has a strong culture and customs, the dating regulations have remained mostly unchanged. Nepali parents are often involved in matching their children or arranging their marriage with someone they know. In the past, 2 parents would get together and set up a date for their kids. You'd meet and converse a couple of times before getting married. However, in some parts of Nepal, dating is still a big taboo. Dating couples desire to keep their relationships private. The level of secrecy varies depending on how tight and conservative their local culture is regarding dating. Some couples maintain their dating relationship a complete secret for fear of the moral police. In contrast, people in a more contemporary city are more upfront about their dating relationships. Most ethnic groups in Nepal are Hindu, who worship Hindu gods, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. Dating someone from a different caste is not acceptable for parents and family. In Nepal, marriage is not just the union of bride and groom, but establishment of relationship between the families. The Nepali Hindu engagement ceremony is called Tika Tala. It translates to the tika, the crimson marking made between the eyes during an arti. It has been used to exchange good wishes and promises. The engagement ceremony starts the wedding with just the bride and groom meeting. The Hindu and Buddhist cultures in Nepal have wildly different wedding engagements. Marriage is not considered a sacred thread in Buddhist traditions, but rather a social agreement between the 2 persons being married. On the wedding day, the groom and his family, along with neighbors, relatives, and music band, leave for the bride's house. The group of people along with his groom and music band is called janti. The janti is led by the group of women carrying trays with food and gifts, called saipata, for the bride's family. There is a traditional music band that plays traditional musical instruments called panchibaha. Behind them are the groom and the group of people performing dance. The wedding ceremony is performed at the bride's house. On the arrival of janti at the bride's house, they are welcomed by the parents and relatives of the bride. The saipata is handed to the bride's family, and janti is welcomed with the feast called Janti Boj, marriage party. Groom is taken to jagi or mandrop, the place to perform the wedding ritual. The most important person of the wedding ceremony is the Pundit, priest. The Pundit performs the marriage ceremony by chanting the mantras through the holy book. The marriage ceremony is performed by revolving around the sacred fire for 7 times, with the knot tied between the couples indicating the 7 lives of togetherness. The marriage ritual is completed when the groom puts sindoor, red vermilion powder, on the bride's head, and pote or talari, a holy necklace, around the neck. Sindoor and pote have great significance for married women in Nepal. After this, the bride's father washes the feet of the wedded couple, and all the relatives and family members will bless them with tika on forehead and gifts. Finally, the married couple, along with the janti, depart from the bride's house dancing and celebrating with Panchibaha. Adults often continue to live in the same household as their parents to start families. Most families in Nepal are strongly patriarchal. However, there are some matriarchal structures in communities. Many Nepali mothers often have quite a commanding status, especially over their children and daughter-in-law, and there are an increasing number of female-headed households. In rural areas, the patriarch may head the whole extended family. He is known to family servants as the Malik, manager. In this position of authority, the head male is responsible for the entire family and the behavior of those in it. Should a family member disobey the rules of a village, the elders will approach the Malik to redress the issue. There is a traditional idolization of female purity and power in Nepal. Women are often religiously depicted as strong goddesses, with emphasis on their virtue, cleanliness, and virginity. However, while many women are respected for their power and prestige, their domestic role remains predominantly traditional throughout most of the country. Females are often perceived as the caregivers of society and are commonly dependent on their husband and/or father's provisional income. In homes where both the husband and the wife work, the assets are usually still in the man's name. You will find that a specific hierarchical system is followed in the business culture in Nepal. However, it is not demeaning to lower-level people. It is mostly a matter of respect. The senior-most or highest-ranking person is always expected to introduce themselves first and take the lead in a conversation. In fact, in many sectors, due to family and traditional businesses, the senior person in age also gets the highest rank in the business. However, it is not the case in every business. Even in meetings, the highest-ranking person will always lead the discussion and put their presentation first. And the duration and termination of meeting hours and discussions also lie in the hands of the senior person. You are expected to treat them with respect and sincerity. If you come from an Asian country, you will not find this rule very aggressive or different. Coming to a general yet essential point, the dress code in Nepali work society is very important. For men, you are generally expected to wear a suit jacket and tie, especially when you have official business meetings or conferences. On regular office days, you can opt for the traditional Nepali dress code, the kurta or surwal, with a Nepali hat. For women, since Nepal is still a conservative country, you must avoid wearing revealing or skin-fit clothes. During official meetings, you can opt for business suits or long skirts, and on regular days, you can wear a sari or kurti. You can wear pants and skirts of your choice, but make sure that they cover your knees and shoulders properly. Revealing clothes is frowned upon. It may also damage your impression in front of your boss. This dress code is to be maintained even outside the office. Nepali ladies wear traditional clothes that cover most of their skin. Although Nepalis speak English to a great extent, you will find many locals who still prefer their native language. Even during business meetings, there will always be fluctuation from one language to another in between conversations. Revering elders and providing care and support to the elderly is considered a social norm and a moral duty for family members. Most primary caregiving is provided by either wives or daughters-in-law. Many parents in Nepal directly or indirectly think of their children as insurance for their old age. The elderly depend on their children, particularly sons, for support and security in their old age in Nepal. Taking care of older parents in Nepal is considered a responsibility of children, especially sons. But recently, with the nucleation of family and permanent migration of sons' families to foreign countries, daughters are also increasingly taking care of their parents. Lastly comes death. Nepal is a Hindu-dominated country, so most of the rituals follow core Hindu tradition of cremation. The body will be transported by an ambulance and cremated on the banks of the holy river. The corpse will be wrapped in a white or red cotton cloth. A garland of flowers will be stretched along the length of the body, and then a mourner will light the funeral pyre. At the end, the ashes will be gathered and put into an urn. For a Hindu Nepalese funeral, cremation is the most common end-of-life arrangement. It takes place outside, typically on the banks of the Bagmati River. They may also hold a funeral service before the cremation takes place. As for Buddhists, they also may choose cremation or sky burials. To begin the Hindu cremation process, they dip the body into the river 3 times. The chief mourner, who is usually the deceased's son, lights the funeral pyre. The deceased's family also participates in the funeral procession by bathing in the river or sprinkling holy water on themselves. They believe the river spiritually and physically purifies the family. After the cremation, some families put the cremated remains in an urn to spread during a special end-of-the-year ceremony. The mourning period length can vary, but it's typically around 11 to 13 days long. It serves as a time to grieve, honor the deceased, memorialize them, and support their family and friends. During this time, mourners can't eat certain vegetables or meat. They also can only wear white clothing and nothing made out of leather, such as belts, watches, or shoes. When it comes to death, both Hindus and Buddhists believe in reincarnation. For Hindus, the goal is to be released from the reincarnation cycle and achieve moksha. For Buddhists, the goal is to escape the cycle by reaching nirvana. And that's a wrap. Let us know which country you want us to cover next. Don't forget to like and subscribe.